Hello! Hey, what's up, guys? Darkbreaker here. The first look at wildrift patch 4.3b. For you guys wondering, the patch is coming out Thursday night, and we're gonna talk about all the changes that they are doing, like buffs and nerfs. And hope you guys will enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I actually haven't watched the changes yet, so we're gonna watch it together. I'm gonna give you some input and my opinion about the changes, what I think is gonna matter and how it's gonna affect the meta, and let's get started. So, for the champion buffs, Aatrox is getting a buff. Deathbringer stance, his passive healing effect from hitting minions, is getting increased by 10%, and the first ability, damage ratio to minions, is also getting increased from 55% to 65%, making his jungle clear better. So first of all, it's definitely a buff to Baron Lane Aatrox, even though I think Aatrox is in a good position, that he doesn't need the buff necessary. He's strong. Some people even think he's broken. In my opinion, he's very, very strong in the right hands. Super tanky, good sustain, and amazing in teamfights as well. So this is a buff to Aatrox Baron Lane. Yeah, it's nice to have for Aatrox mains. I think it's not necessary though. Next one's gonna be Akali. Akali's passive is gonna get changed. Moving towards the outside of the ring of energy grants you bonus movement speed. Now it's getting increased. Wow, that's for noobs. That's for noobs like me. So you're getting movement speed when moving to collect the energy, or to collect the passive, and it's getting increased to up to 60%. That's insane. So if you use a Q, you use your first ability, for example, you want to get the passive, now you get way more movement speed. This is amazing. It's a huge Akali buff. Huge Akali buff. Exiting the ring of the energy towards enemy champion grants you bonus movement speed, increased from 30% to 60%. And 5-point strike. First ability, energy consumption is getting lowered in the early game. Amazing Akali buff. This is gonna make your laning phase way better. And plus the movement speed is gonna make her kiting and her chasing also way better. That's a huge Akali buff for Baron lane and mid lane. Now let's move on to Akshan. Akshan's attack per level is getting increased by 1. Then on top of that, the ultimate is also getting buffed in the late game. Yeah. It's a late game buff. Yes. So minimum damage is getting increased by 5, and then by 10. The attack ratio stays the same. Maximum damage is also getting increased. So they're increasing the damage of the Akshan ultimate plus attack per level is getting increased. That's a big buff. Akshan very strong in the Baron lane and in the mid lane. I think his play rate in the mid lane will even be greater now. So, I mean, honestly, Aatrox, Akali, and Akshan are, in my opinion, in a good state that they don't need a buff. All three of them are very strong. I think Akali is going to be so broken after this. Next one, Fiora is getting a buff. The first ability now allows you to target or damage the turret at the same time. So you can dash against the turret, I guess, and you're gonna damage it. So that's also a pretty nice buff for Fiora to siege the turret quicker. Yeah, I think Fiora's in a position where a buff might help her. She's she's very hard to play in solo queue and make her work unless you're like completely dominating the enemy laner. Next one is gonna be Aurelia. Aurelia's second ability, damage reduction is getting increased, and the base damage of the second ability is also getting increased. Nice to have buff. It's gonna make her survivability a bit better. Jarvan. Passive cooldown of acting on the same target is getting lowered, so you can proc the passive more often onto the same target. Golden Aegis basic shield value is getting... Let's see. Oh, they're buffing Bruiser, Jarvan, because now it has HP scaling. The more HP you have, the more shielding you are gonna get. Cataclysm. Damage from enemies is reduced by 12, 16, 20% inside Cataclysm. The effect will be removed when leaving Cataclysm on the barrier surrounding the terrain collapses. Oh, this is a huge Bruiser tank Jarvan buff. Huge Jarvan buff. So, first of all, passive is going to allow him to get more damage. Second ability is going to provide him with more shield value right now. That's scaling with maximum HP, plus he has damage reduction within the ultimate. So you can jump with your ultimate, use Stoneplate's Dark's Gauge, plus the Cataclysm damage reduction. That's insane. That's like an inbuilt Garen second ability. Slightly weaker, but still similar. 20% damage reduction. That's a big buff. Big tank Jarvan buff, or bruiser Jarvan buff. Very big buff. Jace, base attack damage is getting increased by 2, that's gonna be relevant. All of his abilities and auto attacks are gonna do more damage. A second ability, the jungle clear speed is getting reduced. Instead of 100%, it's only 70% on the second ability. Slight jungle clear nerf. Third ability, Thundering Blow, Acceleration Gate. Oh, the damage is getting increased. Okay, they're nerfing the damage onto jungle camps across every rank. They're increasing the target's maximum HP damage though in the early mid game. So Jace lane buff pretty much, Jace jungle slight nerf. But you have to consider that the base attack damage buff is also buffing Jace jungle. Even though they nerfed the second ability, they didn't touch the first ability. Mercury Cannon, Mercury Hammer. Gain bonus armor and magic resistance in hammer stance. Is getting amplified or getting increased by 9% bonus attack damage. So the more bonus attack damage you have, the more resistance you're getting when you're switching into the hammer form. This is a big buff for Jace actually. Jace, big buff. Jace mid lane, Jace baron lane, big buff. Jace jungle, I would still say it's a buff for Jace jungle even though they nerfed the second ability and third ability, it's still a big buff for Jace in general, so Jace jungle will also be stronger. Now for Karma, wait, they're buffing Karma. Karma's first ability, base attack damage on the first ability is getting increased by 10 across all ranks for base and for the mantra bonus damage. Now for the shield value is getting increased, plus the ability power is also getting increased. So the AP ratio plus the base value is getting increased. So AP, or that it's just in general, mid and support Karma is gonna be way better. First ability and third ability buff. Why are they doing this, Riot? What's wrong with you? No way. That's insane. That's insane. Karma doesn't need a buff. Karma support, Karma mid lane are gonna be so strong. Because Karma support players are also playing full AP. So you have the Luden, Devcap, Void stuff doing tons of damage. Interesting. Now, even more buffs. Misfortune, another buff for Misfortune. The base armor is getting increased by 4. Armor per level is getting increased. Double up. Critical hit damage after doubling up is getting nerfed in the early game, increased in the late game. Second ability, new passive. If Misfortune does not take damage for 4 seconds, she gains 25 bonus movement speed. 3 seconds later, movement speed bonus increases to 80, 85, 90, 95. Wait. This isn't gonna grant Misfortune so much mobility if she can kite. If she can kite and not get hit before combat. Dude, my cable is scuffed. I'm not sure why. Okay, wait a second. Next one is gonna be Pike. Pike attack damage per level is getting increased. Bone Skewer, basic damage is getting increased. Damage ratio to minions and monsters getting nerfed though. So Pike mid lane, Pike jungle getting nerfed. Pike support, still good though. Base damage, I don't know why they call this a buff. It seems like an adjustment to me. Third ability, base damage getting increased. Base stun duration getting increased. Damage ratio to monsters getting nerfed by 50%. Oh, huge Pike jungle nerf. So Pike jungle, huge nerf. Pike support seems way better now. Wait, Riven jungle is getting nerfed. They're cutting. Runic Blade, passive. The passive damage ratio to monsters is getting nerfed by 50%. Broken Wings, damage is getting increased though. Early, okay, so the base damage is getting increased, plus the attack damage ratio is getting increased. It is only the damage ratio to monsters though on the passive. Third ability cooldown is also getting lowered. So Riven, Baron Lane, big buff. Riven, I think... How much does the passive affect your jungle clear? A lot actually, because you're using a lot of your auto attacks. Every time you use an ability, you charge your passive and your next auto attack is going to do more damage, right? And now it's only 50%. I'm not sure how it's going to affect her jungle clear speed, but Riven, Baron Lane is going to be much better. Base damage on the first ability and attack damage ratio getting buffed, plus third ability utility cooldown lowered. Sion, Roar of the Slayer, third ability. Basic damage is getting increased at every rank, and mana consumption is getting lowered. It's a slight buff, but won't affect Sion too much. Now for the runes buff. Mark of the Week cooldown is getting decreased by 5 seconds. So that's a buff for Mark of the Week, and nerfs Inspiration Glacier Augment. Glacier Augment, slowdown effect of the slowdown zone is getting nerfed. I feel like no one is running Glacier Augment though. Damage reduction effect is getting lowered from 15% to 12%. And bonus health is only 1.5%. So Riven, Baron seems way stronger. Pike support seems way stronger. Misfortune seems much better as well. Jarvan, huge buff. Jace seems to me like a huge buff as well. Karma, huge buff. Like, they're not nerfing, they're just buffing. The only nerf is Glacier Augment, and they're just buffing champions. Aatrox, nice to have, not insane buff. Akali, huge buff. Akali is a very big buff. I think Akshan is also a very decent buff. Fiora is gonna be interesting to see. Jarvan, huge buff. Jace, huge buff. Karma, dude, why are they buffing so many champions that are strong? Aatrox is in a good state. Oh, he's very strong. Akali is very broken. Akshan very strong. Fiora, yeah, Fiora needs the buff. I guess Aurelia needs the buff, or not necessarily needs a buff, but I mean, doesn't hurt her because she's not broken. Jarvan, yeah, I can see why they're buffing Jarvan, makes sense. Jace, I think Jace is in a strong position, doesn't necessarily need a buff. Karma doesn't need a buff. Misfortune, yes, Misfortune, I agree. Pike, jungle nerf, and mid lane, jungle clear speed nerf, or mid lane, lane nerf. I mean, mid lane, clear, minion clear nerf, makes sense, but buffing Pike support, not sure. Riven buff, I think the Riven jungle nerf is not bad, and Riven buff in general. I think a play rate in Baron Lane is not that high, so it kind of makes sense. Sion, okay, it's fine. Mark of the Week, I think it's a strong rune, so I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, write down below in the comments your opinion about the changes, whether or not they make sense, what you like about the changes, what you dislike. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I see you guys next time. Yeah, I stream almost every day. Thursday I'm gonna spam, so you guys don't want to miss out on all the new patch content. So I see you guys. Bye bye, YouTube frogs.